After listening to Bo Burnham's Inside for the 100th time and still loving every minute of it, it occurred to me that one of my favorite songs from the project has some pretty major similarities to another song I know. That Funny Feeling, the most delicate and sincerely stripped down song from Inside, acts as almost a sister song to Father John Misty's Holy Shit from his 2015 album I Love You Honeybear. Although the songs were released more than 6 years apart, the sentiments from both songs stem from that same feeling of existential dread that's been hanging over our collective heads for the past decade or so. Each of them act as a sort of "we didn't start the fire" or "it's the end of the world as we know it" style song, formatted as a list of absurdities with a catchy chorus that provides a sentiment about living in the face of the world as it is. The difference between the two songs comes in both the level of absurdity presented in the verses, as well as the attitudes about existing in the world presented in the choruses. In Holy Shit, Father John Misty lists off a litany of concepts and ideas that have governed our civilization for ages, as well as newer trappings of modern life. He sings about everything from ancient holy wars to what it's like to live in the online age, citing satirical news, isolation, and online friends. His ideas here seem to link the brutality of the world with the need to carve out an identity in the face of it all, singing that no one ever knows the real you and life is brief, so I've heard, but what's that gotta do with this atom bomb in me? Before the final part of the song, the music descends into about 10 seconds of cinematically disorganized orchestral crescendo, culminating in the final verse and chorus that illustrate the paradox of the very human need to find meaningful existence in a world that largely doesn't care about you. The planet may be doomed, but we're still going to be okay, aren't we? Bo Burnham's That Funny Feeling kicks the absurdity up a notch, in addition to adopting more of a defeatist attitude about the end of the world. Some of the verses play like something straight out of Infinite Jest, highlighting the ever-increasing presence of corporations in our everyday lives, showcasing the insanity that Bugles might have a take on race, or that KFC having a female version of Colonel Sanders might help close the gap in gender inequality. Just like in Holy Shit, the song also dives into what it's like existing in tandem with the technology that rules our world, painting a portrait of isolation by referencing going for a drive in Grand Theft Auto 5, or reading a book on getting better hand-delivered by a drone. In contrast to Holy Shit, Bo alludes to the acceptance of the end rather than fighting for self-preservation or pretending that everything isn't what it seems. Rather than pushing reality away, Bo seems resigned to our fate, singing that there's been 20,000 years of this, 7 more to go. The outro of the song serves as an understanding that we've had a good run, but that the end is nigh, singing, "Hey, what can you say? We were overdue, but it'll be over soon, just wait." The chorus of the song, from which it takes its name, alludes to that funny feeling, which, while not explicitly spelled out, may allude to the same paradox that Father John Misty explores in his song, that we carry on with our everyday lives amidst the chaos that serves as an ever-present background noise, sometimes peeking through the surface enough to give us that funny feeling. Both songs come from people that were born at different stages on the millennial timeline, with Father John Misty writing The Upper Limits being born in 1981, and Bo Burnham almost a decade later in 1990. As much as millennial is just a marketing term used to describe people born between 1980 and 1995, there does seem to be a common thread in the way that our generation views the world and what previous generations have left for us. We've lived through multiple failed wars, broken economies, a flailing political system, unending police violence, the race towards an uninhabitable planet, and most recently a global pandemic. It's easy to see why we might have a hard time putting on a rosy disposition about the general state of things. In keeping with the malaise that Burnham describes, it made perfect sense to me that Phoebe Bridgers, a musician and artist on the edge between millennial and Gen Z, would start to cover That Funny Feeling at her most recent shows since touring has resumed post-COVID. Phoebe's music echoes a similar type of feeling, reveling in depression and the notion of being lost, but at the same time having an almost whimsical and romantic attitude towards it all. Although not as immediately apparent as the similarities between Holy Shit and That Funny Feeling, Phoebe's song, I Know the End, operates in a similar space, detailing our impending doom but with a sense of clarity, peace, and yearning that the other two lack. She sings about not wanting to go down with my hometown in a tornado, but wanting to chase it instead. The final verse of the song plays out like someone unbothered by oblivion, singing, "Either way, we're not alone. I'll find a new place to be from. A haunted house with a picket fence to float around and ghost my friends. No, I'm not afraid to disappear. The billboard said the end is near. I turned around, there was nothing there. Yeah, I guess the end is here." To the slightly younger generation, the chaos around us doesn't necessarily seem like something new. It's what we've known for the majority of our adult lives. And so in a way, the fear and anxiety that it generates acts as fertile ground for a disposition that sees the end as inevitable, something that can't be changed. And so beyond that funny feeling, why worry? If the end is nigh, acceptance might not be enough. It might be better to embrace it completely and wonder what else might be out there on the other side of eternity. If holy shit is denial, and that funny feeling is acceptance, I know the end might be circumventing the stages of grief entirely. We might be overdue, but it might be worth our time to watch the sunset from our rusty swing set, appreciating how beautiful the colors are.